The dark truth is that it's become very hard to find anyone, and certainly anything, more interesting than a smartphone. We love our phones and would never want to give them up, but we're all probably also gently aware that these delightful gadgets bear a hidden cost. To say that we are addicted to our phones is not merely to point out that we use them a lot, it signals a darker notion, that we use them to keep our own selves at bay. Because of our phones, we may find ourselves incapable of sitting alone in a room with our own thoughts floating freely in our heads, daring to wander into the past and the future, allowing ourselves to feel pain, desire, regret and excitement. We are addicted to our phones not because we rely on them, but to the extent that we recruit them to a harmful project of self-avoidance. They don't mean to hurt us, but we may and probably do use them to injure ourselves. Addiction sounds horrible, but it's a hard name for a normal inclination, a habit of running away from the joys and terrors of self-knowledge. We can look up so much on our phones. We can, if we're inclined, check up the population of Lima, 8.73 million, who won the ladies' final at Wimbledon in 1997. Martina Hingis, the definition of tautology, saying the same thing twice, though in different ways. Or perhaps the author of that fascinating quote, "What you survive makes you stronger," Nietzsche. Yet this constant resource has an unwitting, unfortunate side effect. We consult our phones rather than ourselves. It's not that we actually know so many obscure facts, it's that we already possess, in scattered, unpolished forms, the raw material from which a huge number of the very best insights and ideas could be formed, if only we gave them enough time and attention. Almost since the beginning of time, we have prized the opportunity to get away from reminders of humanity and to immerse ourselves in nature. We've wanted to gaze on the grey indifference of the ocean or the bright, incalculable immensity of the starry sky. But our phones are the enemies of such experiences. They keep intruding our small selves into the picture. We might be on the edge of the Grand Canyon. They are beeping in our back pockets. We may be gazing at the southern slopes of the Matterhorn. They are receiving updates for a food delivery app back home. They ask us never to forget our ego and the endless things that ail us. Without meaning to, they strip away the help that the grandeur of nature can offer us. We constantly use our phones to keep track of our appointments, but we are, if we think about it, quite constrained around the things to which we choose to be alerted. There's the automated reminder of the session with a dentist, the alert to jog our memories that it's our parents' anniversary, or the text message to let us know we're due to play a tennis match on Sunday afternoon. But there are other, very different appointments we need to keep in mind. We need reminders to keep appointments with ourselves. We need to spend time with our own worries, to understand them rather than just suffer the anxiety they create. The grandest and much the worst is our final appointment with death. We don't know how many days we have left to count down, but what we need reminding of is not the day and the hour, but the fact. Ideally, we'd get a message every morning. Memento homo quia pulvis es, et in pulverem reverteris. Remember you are made of dust and will be dust again. Our phones seem amazingly sophisticated, small miracles of compressed practical science working hand in hand with advanced capitalism. We think so highly of them because we compare them to the past rather than to the possibilities of the future. They are so much more advanced than any device we could have possessed 20 or 40 years ago. Yet our phones are almost unbearably primitive in comparison with what, ideally, the long future will bring. We are still so far from inventing the technology we really require for us to flourish. Capitalism has delivered only on the simplest of our needs. We can summon up the street map of Lyon, but not a diagram of what our partner is really thinking and feeling. The phone will help us follow 15 news outlets, but not help us to know when we've spent more than enough time doing so. It emphatically refuses to distinguish between the most profound needs of our soul and a passing fancy. In the utopia, our phones will be wiser than we are. They will be kind and not merely subservient. They will know how to edge us away from a stupid decision and how to summon up our better natures. We deserve pity for having been born in such primitive times.